So we're going to spend some time talking about negative thinking and positive psychology. And this is essentially a brief talk on cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT. So we'll talk a little bit more about that. Um, so take a look at this list, and you might want to push pause for a minute and just read through these. But these are negative thinking patterns or common negative thoughts that people have. They're too heavy, or they're not smart enough. Um, whatever this might be. And we need to realize when we're experiencing these things that these are negative thoughts and they can be challenged and they can be changed because negative thoughts are going to have a negative impact on your health overall. Again, we'll talk a little bit more about psychoneuroimmunology, but the bottom line is that negative thoughts, negative emotions, they have a negative impact on your health. Positive thoughts, positive emotions, they have a positive impact on your health overall. So this is why we need to control these negative thoughts. CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, comes from that word cognitive or cognition. So it's a focus on cognitions or thoughts, thinking patterns, thinking styles. Um, so it's the idea that a person's negative interpretation of events, what they refer to as cognitive distortions, gives that person an inaccurate picture of reality. And then anything from depression or anxiety or anger can result. So CBT teaches people how to recognize, these negative thoughts, and it teaches people how to challenge these and turn those into positive, healthier ways of thinking. Um, so the kind of I guess, a relatively new idea in psychology. There were spurts of this back in the 70s. People talking about positive psychology, and it's starting to gain a little bit more traction now among quote unquote legitimate mental health professionals. But it's the idea that you're not just trying to control negative thoughts or negative emotions, but you're actually teaching people how to be happy, how to experience positive emotions as much as possible. So they borrow a lot of these, honestly, from Eastern psychology, Buddhism. Buddhism again is really a form of psychology more than a religion that we think of as religion. Same thing with Hinduism. Hinduism is really more of a form of philosophy than what we think of as religion. And the goals of stress management in Buddhism, I know we already looked at these, are pretty similar, if not exactly the same. Um, so again, rumination, we read an article about this already, and we talked briefly about it. And it's the idea, again, that you just get trapped into a negative thought pattern about a particular thing. And it could be something significant, like PTSD from either some type of abuse or an attack, or being in prison or being a soldier. But most of us get caught up in this, and not such serious things. Silly little things. Somebody said something inappropriate, or somebody cut you off driving to work today, and you think about these, and you let that thing ruin your day, and that's the kind of thing that we have to counter. And just recognizing it for what it is the first step in overcoming it. And again, there's a lot to be said about forgiveness, letting go of a hurt. Not just forgiving other people, but forgiving yourself for whatever that behavior that you may have engaged in. Maybe it was inappropriate, but you don't keep beating yourself up over it. That's all. So just because you make a mistake doesn't mean that you are a mistake. Guilt, again, is kind of like a self-regulating system, I guess. It's a way of your mind's way of alerting you that you've strayed off course from your true self or your true intentions. So admitting that you made a mistake, again, is not the same thing as I am a mistake. So toxic guilt is something that we need to work on. So schemas, these are I know it sounds a little creepy, but that term mind programs. It's just basically the way that your brain works, the way that your mind works, the way that your mind processes information. So it's kind of like a mind program, and it processes information and creates expectations. So it's like an operating system for your brain. So we all have these, and it's just sometimes we get some negative schemas, and we need to kind of work through that. So here are some harmful schemas, and again, it might be a good idea to pause this and read through these, because you will have to recognize at least one or two of these at some point in our writing assignments. Um, and just we all fall into some of these at some point or another. Some people are fall pretty heavily into some of these different categories, whether it's dependence or vulnerability, um, or perfectionism, subjugation. Um, so, again, take a look through all these, and again, for your um, uh, personal health matters, you might want to potentially look at these and consider that maybe you need some help with some of these. And then healthy schemas, and this is what we want to replace the harmful schemas with. And it's basically the complete opposite of everything that we just looked at. So, take a look at look through these, the harmful and then the helpful, healthy schemas. And, if you need help, a lot of people do need help kind of replacing negative thoughts with positive thoughts. Go see a therapist, go see somebody that specializes in CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy. Chances are, if you have insurance, you can get it covered by insurance. Your doctor will probably um, be very willing to do this. So these negative thoughts, these negative emotions, this is not the result of a chemical imbalance. That's a myth. We'll talk about that a little bit more. It's the result of usually the way that you think. And it could have been something from your diet, not enough physical activity, not enough something in your environment, or something, some type of stress management issue that could potentially be causing this issue. So, okay, I hope this was helpful. I hope you enjoyed it.